There comes a point in every man's life when he realizes that the secret to peace isn't found in adding more. It's found in removing what no longer belongs. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. They knew that most of what disturbs us doesn't come from the world outside. It comes from our own attachments, our own noise, and our own resistance to letting go. Modern life tells you to collect more success, more validation, more possessions, more people. But all of that creates weight. You start carrying things that no longer fit the man you're becoming. You stay in conversations that drain you, relationships that confuse you, habits that poison you, and slowly your peace begins to fade. The Stoic man doesn't wait for collapse to change. He removes quietly, without anger, without announcement. Because true strength doesn't come from what you hold. It comes from what you can release. Here are 7 things you must quietly remove from your life if you want to live like a Stoic, grounded, clear, and untouchably at peace. 1. Remove the need to be understood. This is one of the hardest attachments to break, the need for others to see you as you truly are. You try to explain yourself to people who don't listen. You justify your choices to people who live by different values. You exhaust your spirit trying to prove that your heart is good and your intentions pure. But Stoicism teaches that the truth doesn't need defending. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be indifferent to what makes no difference." The opinions of those who refuse to understand you make no difference. You must accept that people will misunderstand you. Some will twist your words, some will label you arrogant, cold, or distant simply because you refuse to bend. That's fine. Their perception is not your responsibility. The Stoic man knows that his worth doesn't depend on validation. He doesn't debate with the blind. He simply walks his path with quiet conviction. Epictetus said, "If someone speaks badly of you, live so that no one will believe him." That is the Stoic's revenge, not words but integrity. You don't need to convince the world of your goodness. Live it. Let time prove you right. Every moment you spend explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you is a moment stolen from your purpose. Let go of that need. The man who seeks to be understood by everyone will never understand himself. 2. Remove people who feed your chaos. There are 2 types of people in your life, those who water your peace and those who set fires in your mind. The Stoic man learns to tell the difference early. Some people will never know peace because they feed on conflict. They gossip, complain, and dramatize everything. They bring storms wherever they go, and they want company in their misery. If you keep entertaining them, their storms become yours. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The same is true of the people around you. If you surround yourself with confusion, your spirit will become restless. If you surround yourself with envy, your gratitude will fade. The Stoic man doesn't hate those who live in chaos. He simply stops drinking from their cup. He doesn't need to block or announce. He simply grows quieter. He lets the connection dissolve naturally. Because peace doesn't demand closure, it demands distance. Solitude is not punishment. It's purification. It's the process of removing external noise so you can hear your inner voice again. You'll be surprised how loud your intuition becomes when you stop letting chaos whisper in your ear. Remember, you cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. If someone's presence constantly drains you, it's not a coincidence, it's a message. Listen. 3. Remove the habit of overthinking. Your mind is a beautiful tool, but if you don't master it, it becomes your prison. Overthinking is the mind's attempt to control what it never can. It's the endless analysis of what if, the replay of what was, and the fear of what could be. Seneca warned, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Overthinking is that suffering. You imagine every outcome, every rejection, every failure before it even happens. You create pain that doesn't exist outside your thoughts. The Stoic man replaces rumination with reflection. Reflection observes, rumination obsesses, reflection learns, rumination fears. When you catch yourself spiraling, pause. Ask, is this thought useful? Does it serve my growth, or does it drain my spirit? If it doesn't serve, release it. The mind, like a muscle, strengthens through discipline. Meditation, journaling, and silence are not luxuries, they are weapons. Use them to reclaim control over your thoughts. Clarity isn't found through more thinking, it's found through less noise. Once you stop trying to predict life, you start experiencing it. The Stoic man doesn't overthink the past or worry about the future. He stays anchored in what he can control, this moment, this breath, this choice. 4. Remove your attachment to outcomes. Attachment is the enemy of peace. The more tightly you cling to how something should happen, the more pain you feel when it doesn't. You chase success, love, recognition, and you tie your happiness to results beyond your control. Epictetus taught, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." That's the essence of Stoicism. Your effort is yours. Your outcome never is. You can do everything right and still fail. You can love purely and still be left. You can work endlessly and still be overlooked. None of that defines your worth. The Stoic man judges himself only by what he controls, his choices, his discipline, his attitude. When you stop expecting the world to reward you on your timeline, peace returns. You begin to see life not as a battle to win, but as a rhythm to flow with. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny." It doesn't mean surrendering, it means trusting. When you do your best, the rest belongs to fate. Detach from outcomes, not because you don't care, but because you care about your sanity more. Effort is your duty. Results are life's domain. 5. Remove the fear of being alone. Solitude is one of the most misunderstood states of being. Weak men fear it. Wise men need it. Because in silence, the Stoic man rediscovers who he is. In today's world, solitude is rare. People fill every gap with distraction, music, conversation, scrolling, anything to avoid being alone with their thoughts. But the Stoics viewed solitude as strength. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Alone time is where you build your philosophy, your discipline, your focus. It's where you strip away the world's expectations and remember your purpose. When you stop fearing your own company, you stop settling for the wrong company. You no longer chase validation or attention because you've found contentment in your own stillness. Solitude teaches self-sufficiency, the realization that happiness is not something you receive, but something you generate. The Stoic man is comfortable in his own silence. He walks alone not because he hates others, but because he loves peace more. And ironically, when you master solitude, you become magnetic, because calm confidence is rare in a world addicted to noise. 6. Remove the desire to impress. In the age of social media and comparison, everyone is performing. People buy things they can't afford, post emotions they don't feel, and chase approval from people they don't even know. But the Stoic man doesn't play that game. Seneca said, "A great man is one who uses earthenware as if it were silver, and silver as if it were earthenware." In other words, real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need display. When you stop trying to impress, you start to live. You stop filtering your words to sound wise. You stop wearing masks to appear strong. You stop exhausting yourself for an audience that isn't even watching. The Stoic man's satisfaction comes from integrity, not applause. He acts not for praise, but for principle. Ask yourself honestly, are you doing it because it's right or because it looks right? Are you living for your values or for validation? When your actions align with your principles, external approval becomes irrelevant. The man who seeks applause is always a slave to it. But the man who works silently, faithfully, consistently, he owns his peace. 7. Remove excuses and blame. Excuses are comfort disguised as logic. They keep you from accountability while pretending to protect your self-esteem. But each excuse you make becomes a brick in the wall that traps you. The Stoic man destroys that wall by accepting total responsibility. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery begins when you stop blaming anyone or anything for your circumstances. Yes, life is unfair. People betray, fate tests, the world disappoints. But none of that gives you the right to surrender. Every excuse you make delays your potential. Every time you say, "I can't," you're really saying, "I won't." When something goes wrong, ask, "What can I learn? What can I improve? What is still within my control?" That's the Stoic mindset, using adversity as fuel. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle is an invitation to grow stronger. Blame keeps you powerless. Responsibility makes you unstoppable. Quietly remove every excuse that begins with someday or if only. The future belongs to those who act despite imperfection. The Stoic way of removal. The beauty of Stoic detachment lies in its calmness. You don't need to announce what you're letting go of. You don't need to prove your change to anyone. You simply stop giving your energy where it's wasted. You begin replying less, thinking less, explaining less. You stop reacting to every emotion and start observing it. You stop trying to win every argument and start walking away from those who only drain your time. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the realization that life is short, and every moment spent defending your peace is a moment well lived. The Stoic man practices subtraction, not addition. He simplifies, refines, and removes until only what's essential remains: discipline, virtue, and inner stillness. In a world that rewards noise, silence becomes your rebellion. Growth doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. A man deleting old numbers, ending draining habits, and saying less each day. The Stoic path is one of quiet power. You don't prove, you embody. You don't chase, you attract. You don't demand respect, you command it through calmness. So remove quietly. Remove the need to be understood. It's keeping you small. Remove people who disturb your stillness. They're teaching you boundaries. Remove overthinking. It's a thief dressed as wisdom. Remove attachment to outcomes. They were never yours to control. Remove fear of solitude. It's where strength is born. Remove the urge to impress. It only weakens your authenticity. Remove excuses. They're shackles you've built yourself. Do this not loudly, but deliberately. You'll notice something remarkable. Life becomes lighter. Your thoughts become cleaner. Your days become peaceful. Because peace doesn't arrive suddenly. It appears when noise fades. And that, my friend, is the essence of Stoicism. Not the loud pursuit of perfection, but the silent removal of everything that keeps you from peace. The Stoic man doesn't need applause or validation. He just wakes up each day a little freer, a little calmer, and a little more himself. And that's the kind of quiet power no one can take from you.